Happening now, an update on a massive factory fire in Jamestown.
We've worked very hard to try to avoid exactly this.
As we look at the legal trouble that could follow for the building's owner. And the cleanup continues following a historic snowstorm in our region. Plus, a local mother speaks out.
It's not safe for them to walk on the road because half the roads have huge bumps. And then it's not safe for them to even ride a bike on the sidewalk.
As we see an uptick in traffic accidents involving students.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, a Cattaraugus County couple faces criminal charges after an 11-month-old overdosed on fentanyl last week. The Cattaraugus County Sheriff's Office just announced the arrest of 29-year-old Cody Worthington and 32-year-old Samantha Snyder after deputies found the baby unconscious and unresponsive. Now, following 2 overdoses of Narcan, the child regained consciousness and was taken for medical care. Both Worthington and Snyder have since been charged with assault and reckless endangerment related to this alleged incident. Deputies said that they recovered drugs laced with fentanyl within their apartment there in Little Valley. And while there may not be school because of winter weather in some places across our area over the last few days, a Jamestown area mother, she is airing her concerns about traffic safety after a child was hit while they were riding their bike to school earlier this week. Alyssa Wright spoke to the mom about the importance of safety across the community and what drivers should do.
The incident isn't the first of its kind, and according to Iris Bonilla, these accidents are becoming too common.
It was a 5th grader at Purcell School. That was it. He wasn't the only one that has been hit near Purcell School. I can name that could be like the 3rd child within the last year.
Bonilla believes while there isn't anyone directly at fault, more can always be done.
Slow down and definitely look left and right. Stop signs, like a lot of people are just blowing these stop signs that are not, and walkways. Like, you should at least be 10 feet away from the walkway to allow people to walk by.
The concerned mom says the city should work to make sidewalks more accessible to students walking to and from school.
It goes back to the city as well because it's not safe for them to walk on the road because half the roads have huge bumps. And then it's not safe for them to even ride the bike on the sidewalk because the sidewalks are also not even.
Bonilla has 2 children that attend Purcell Middle School. She says traffic safety is an important lesson to share with our youngsters.
Always look left and right. Always make sure that you're looking at all your surroundings. Take your headphones off. Don't pay attention to anything else besides where you're going.
In the end, slowing down and using caution is key.
If you know there is a school that way and you're in a rush, take the opposite way. Why are you rushing by these staffs that are trying to help children cross the roads?
In Jamestown, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
The owner of a former Jamestown factory that caught fire last week might face more legal trouble as Jamestown officials work to see the cleanup process through. On Wednesday, a massive fire broke out at 1061 Allen Street. That's the site of a former Crawford furniture factory. While the cause remains under investigation, the Jamestown Department of Development is working to continue cleanup efforts today. The problem property has been on the city's radar since last winter when it was deemed on the verge of a catastrophic collapse. Department of Development Director Crystal Surtick is working with the EPA, state, DEC, and others to assess next steps for the process, which she says could take months. Furthermore, she seeks to have the building's owner held accountable. Over the past years, Cernick says he has ignored countless code violations, which could have led to the fire's ignition. In order to prevent future decay of similar buildings across Jamestown, Cernick seeks a vacant building ordinance, which he says is the first step to help prevent these symbols of Jamestown's history from going up in flames.
I'm disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed, and we've worked very hard to try to avoid exactly this over the last year and a half or so. But this is where we're at, and this is all the more reason that we need to have those policies in place.
Now, the building's owner was set to appear in court last Friday as part of an ongoing litigation with the city of Jamestown to get that site cleaned up. Since the fire, the development director and the city's legal team plan to explore further legal options to hold them accountable, as the emergency cleanup process is also expected to be very pricey. Well, a stretch of Route 20 between northwestern Pennsylvania and western New York was just brutal over the weekend. As Erie News Now's Mike Ruzzi reports, this hampered snow cleanup efforts for many.
Just getting to the Waypoint lot in Northeast was a major challenge. And behind the wheel of this operation and calling the shots is Justin Safford.
Well, we start with the main lots where the trucks are and then work our way out to the employee lots and then to the trailer storage lots. But the main lots and the main runway are the first things we do so we can keep their traffic moving.
He's been the owner and operator of Safford Services for nearly a quarter century. And Justin is running a 4-person crew on this night. And this group has been going non-stop the entire weekend.
How does this one stack up, this 3-day period?
Oh, this happens probably at least once or twice a year. Keep the windows down, keep some cold air on you, and get some caffeine in you.
Visibility was so bad on this night that Safford accidentally bumped into a white tractor trailer.
When it snows like this, it's kind of a relief. Because at this point, as bad as it's snowing, you never think you're going to get done. So when it finally wraps up, you're relieved.
Mike Ruzzi, Erie News Now.
Mike, thank you. Meanwhile, snow cleanup efforts continued throughout the weekend in northern Chautauqua County as well, following a blast of lake-effect snow that will likely make the history books. A check of the road Sunday night in the Dunkirk-Fredonia area found slushy yet drivable conditions there. Just 48 hours earlier, it was a much different scene, with local law enforcement stressing the importance of staying off the roads during the climax of the storm Friday and into Saturday. A travel advisory was also issued at the time by Dunkirk police. While that has since been lifted, officials say the Department of Public Works are still clearing some streets as a result and are reminding all to follow the alternate and overnight parking guidelines to help plows access tight side streets. While the final snow totals are still coming in today, the National Weather Service reported over the weekend they received 21.1 inches of snow in the village of Fredonia, recording now 2 feet of snow on the nose there in Fredonia. And certainly there was a lot of people who were cleaning up following this big blast of weather over last week. And sure, it's nothing new for Western New York, but it is very impressive, Dakota, to see these snow totals falling, especially in that South Buffalo area.
Last week, there we go. Last week we were talking about this, about how this is almost like shades of November, of Snowvember all over again back in 2014, but these storms were completely different. So, there was some similarities, but they're very different in terms of the overall storms here. So this is the, this is the Mayville sky. And you can see the snow accumulation that fell over the past week. And the good news is the snow is done and over with. You can see on the satellite and radar composite, nothing is going on. So we do have a mainly dry week coming up. So that'll be good. So for all of you who need to shovel out and plow out, we've got some dry weather coming up. But it's going to be windy. The National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory for Chautauqua County that goes until 7 o'clock this evening. We could be talking about wind gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour. So hang on to your hats out there, and that will also blow some of that loose snow around as well. Only 20 was the high last week. Look at the average, 46. Started the day at 13, 73 and 6 below are the record. So through the afternoon today, just very windy with strong wind gusts, partly to mostly sunny. Wind 15 to 35, gusts to 50, 30 to 40 is the high temp. Now, I don't think we're going to see much in the way of mild air, but we'll talk about it with Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7 Day later in the show, Justin.
All right, certainly, and a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that Thanksgiving forecast too, Dakota. Thank you. As we continue, we're breaking down yesterday's Buffalo Bills home game, which couldn't take place due to the weather here at home. And later, a new look at funding that aims to help further drug addiction recovery here in New York. Stay with us.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Welcome to WNY News Now's in Channel 716 presentation of the Jamestown Holiday Parade. We are celebrating along with hundreds of other folks from the Pearl City as we ring in holiday cheer. 2, 1. Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than Dwyas Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on Dwyas Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. Dwyas Auto Service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, a historic snowfall in Buffalo forced the move of the Bills game to Detroit on Sunday after the team's home Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park was buried. The Browns opened the game with a 25-yard touchdown. However, the Bills bounced back with 18 seconds left in the quarter when quarterback Josh Allen passed to Stephon Diggs for a 5-yard touchdown. The Bills 13-10. Now in the third, Devin Singletary went up the middle for a 5-yard touchdown. A 2-point attempt failed. The Bills 22-10 at that point. In the fourth and 6 with Tyler Bass, he makes the 49-yard field goal. The Bills 25-10. Although the Browns did manage a final touchdown, the Bills went for the win at home. Final score 31-16. Well, after days and days of snow here in western New York, some areas are only starting to dig out today. That includes Buffalo, one of the hardest hit places. Immediately south of the Queen City, tallied around 6 feet of snow in total. The rapid and massive accumulation caused headaches for motorists and big rigs alike. But officials say the National Guard is helping people who maybe have medical issues, like a dialysis appointment, and they've rescued so far over 300 people there to be able to get them out of their homes. Certainly we know cleanup will be quite a while. Well, last week, 3 of the largest U.S. pharmacy chains nationwide agreed to pay billions of dollars as part of a multi-state opioid settlement. Today, our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Kleins speaks to a public health expert about the impact the settlement money could have on one of New York communities and what it should be done to distribute the funding.
Earlier this week, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart agreed to pay billions of dollars in settlement payments nationwide for their role contributing to the opioid epidemic. New York State will receive up to $116 million in the settlement from Walmart. According to the state attorney general's office, New York State's settlement negotiations with CVS and Walgreens are ongoing. Dessa Bergensico, a professor of public health and coordinator of addiction service studies at Syracuse University, says there are a few key components to consider when it comes to how the settlement money will be distributed to local communities.
We have to attack it from a very comprehensive primary universal prevention and selective indicated support for people who are in treatment, and that includes strengthening the workforce and providing direct treatment services to those people who are struggling with addiction.
Litigation against big pharmacy companies like CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart started in 2017. State and local governments nationwide have filed over 3,000 lawsuits alleging that big pharmacy companies misrepresented the risks of opioids and failed to properly monitor suspicious prescription orders that were being diverted to illegal trafficking. And Bergensico says that big pharmacy companies do have a responsibility to properly monitor prescription purchases by paying attention to possible red flags.
So they they have a responsibility to keep a handle on that, because we've known since the mid to late 90s that this is a significant issue.
Walmart states that their agreement to settlement payment, quote, does not include any admission of liability, and that they strongly dispute the allegations regarding this litigation. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 56,000 people died from an opioid overdose in 2020, which is more than 18 times the rate of opioid overdose deaths since 2013. The Attorney General's office says details about how the money will be distributed to local communities is coming soon. Bergen-Seco says the settlement money could vary per county in how it's used. She says the most immediate need that could be addressed with the settlement money is making treatment available and accessible on demand and expanding the workforce. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Elise, thank you. Well, we're coming off of Snow Squall Awareness Week, and with all this weather, why not highlight what a squall is all about? A snow squall is a brief but intense period of heavy snow and strong winds. They create serious visibility concerns, including whiteout conditions, and can be extremely dangerous if you're on the road. Now, throughout last week, officials shared important safety reminders about squalls, like what to do if you were to encounter one.
If you are driving on an interstate when a snow squall warning is issued, the best thing to do is gradually reduce your speed and exit the roadway at the next opportunity. If you do get caught driving in a snow squall, avoid slamming on your brakes, turn on your headlights and hazard lights, stay in your lane, and increase your following distance.
Now, in the event of a pileup crash, state police say the safest thing is most often to stay in your vehicle and make sure you keep your seatbelt fastened. If you have to exit your vehicle in the event of an emergency, officials say to wait until it's safe and never stand near your vehicle if it's on or near a roadway. Instead, search for safety behind trees, guide rails, and other safety barriers. Certainly important tips to know there. Well, coming up next, we're hearing from a Lakewood, New York woman who's now becoming an expert with traveling to Ukraine about the long wait times many there are facing as they try to exit a nation under siege. But first, when we return, we take a full look at your weather forecast, and if some of the snow we might see could melt away today because of the sunshine. Dakota has that next.
Where coverage matters. This is WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Welcome to WNY News Now's in Channel 716 presentation of the Jamestown Holiday Parade. We are celebrating along with hundreds of other folks from the Pearl City as we ring in holiday cheer.
2, 1.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a look at those snow totals just over the past 24 hours. We don't have totals for the entire event yet, but we do expect that either later today or tomorrow. 8 inches of additional accumulation in Cattaraugus, 7 in Franklinville, 7.5 in Randolph, 3.2 in Gary, and 1.4 down in Mayville. So this was additional snow before that lake effect snow tapered off through last night. Man, it's going to be windy out there today, so the trash can window heater, if you've already got your trash cans out for trash pickup tomorrow morning, yeah, your trash can's probably going to be down the street. You're probably going to have to go for it because wind gusts today are going to be around 45 to 50 miles an hour at times. So it's going to be breezy, and of course it's below average today. So when you get one of those wind gusts, it's just going to feel even colder. The Jamestown Red Raiders are in the Far Western Regional Championships tonight at Hilton High School up towards Rochester. So if you're heading up there tonight, fortunately the thruway is back open again. So if you're heading up, no weather hassles though, but chilly though. 36 down to 34 throughout the game. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock, and hopefully Jamestown will come away as the regional champions. They've done it before, and hopefully they will do it again. You can see the sun peeking out on the HD News Now cam. 34 as a noon hour. There's that healthy southwest wind to 15 and the wind chill down to 24 when you combine the air temperature and the wind together. But the next thing we're really keeping an eye on really is going to be just dry weather over the next couple of days. As you see here, high pressure starting to build in now, so this is going to clear out all that snow. The lake effect snow machine has shut down for now. That is the good news. So this high pressure is going to rule our weather for at least the next few days, and we don't see really any big weather hassle for a while. Let's show next couple of days on Future Scan. Notice the wind arrows here. When you see the white like that indicates really gusty winds, but really nothing through the day. We are going to see the clouds thickening up by tomorrow morning though, so we'll call the morning basically mostly cloudy, but as we go through the afternoon hours, the clouds will start to part. We may catch a little light isolated snow flurry, but I think we should stay dry by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We are pretty much mostly sunny here, and then we're going to keep this dry weather going into Wednesday as well. Maybe just a few clouds, but really the snow is done. So the day planner for tomorrow, we start around 25, 34 at noon. We should warm up into the mid to upper 30s, and at least the winds do come down as well. Now the next 7 days, maybe, there it comes, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So we are going to start to warm back up into the mid to upper 40s, which is right around average for this time of the year. Thanksgiving looking dry, but really, overall seasonable. Yeah. And we are going to bring in a chance for a few rain and snow showers, Justin, by the weekend.
Yeah, certainly good weather for any Thanksgiving travel in and around the neighborhoods, Dakota. Thank you very much. Well, let's get some headlines now from around the nation. In two of America's largest railroad unions, they're set to review whether they are closer to a strike today. The unions representing engineers and conductors will announce whether or not their members have voted to accept a deal brokered by the White House. The sticking point is about more working conditions than wage increases for 60,000 railroad workers who are members of two unions. One estimate warns that U.S. economy could lose $2 billion each day if they did strike. If a tentative agreement isn't ratified by union members, they will go back to the bargaining table for a revised deal with a December deadline. Now, Congress could prevent or end a strike by ending a cool-off period during which the unions cannot strike or imposing a contract on union members. Well, at this hour, at least 5 people are dead and 25 more injured after a shooting erupted inside of a Colorado gay club just before midnight Saturday. Police say 2 brave club patrons are heroes after they took action and stopped the shooter's violent rampage from possibly turning more tragic. Isabel Rosales has the latest from Colorado Springs.
Love over hate. A sign expressing that message now sits amongst a growing memorial of flowers, mementos, and notes outside of Club Q in Colorado Springs. A night of letting loose turning to tragedy late Saturday after a deadly shooting has now rocked the city's tight-knit LGBTQ community.
It was so scary. I heard shots, broken glass, bodies.
Q is a home away from home. It's a place where everyone is free to express themselves and be themselves.
It was always good energy. It was never bad energy, and it just sucks that we'll never be able to have that ever again.
President Biden responding to the attack in a statement, referencing the 2016 massacre at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, saying, quote, "While no motive in this attack is yet clear, we know that the LGBTQI+ community has been subjected to horrific hate violence in recent years. We saw it 6 years ago in Orlando when our nation suffered the deadliest attack affecting the LGBTQI+ community in American history." The FBI is now assisting local authorities who are investigating the shooting as a possible hate crime.
We don't yet know the motivation for this particular attack, but there is no
no good motivation, right? I mean, this is an act of evil, a horrific act, whether they were targeted because it was an LGBTQ gathering place or whether it was targeted for other personal reasons. We simply don't know that at this hour.
In Colorado Springs, I'm Isabel Rosales.
Isabel, thank you. Elon Musk has reinstated President Donald Trump's Twitter account. The former president doesn't seem to be in any rush to start using the platform again, though.
Truth Social is through the roof. It's doing phenomenally well. Truth Social has been very, very powerful, very, very strong. And I'll be staying there, but I hear we're getting a big vote to also go back on Twitter. I don't see it because I don't see any reason for it.
Now, Trump had been banned from Twitter for 22 months, ever since the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Musk, the new owner of Twitter, based his decision on a poll from users. After 15 million votes, Trump was reinstated by a 52-48 margin there. Well, coming up next, our stories from Ukraine continue as we check into the border crossing and wait times for those who are trying to flee the country. We hear from a Lakewood woman as she shares her perspective of traveling in and out of that nation.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
Welcome to WNY News Now's in Channel 716 presentation of the Jamestown Holiday Parade. We are celebrating along with hundreds of other folks from the Pearl City as we ring in holiday cheer. 2, 1.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
As winter cold sets in and missile strikes threaten heat and electricity, more Ukrainians are fleeing their country. But when they get to the border with Poland, Nick Quattrani found they face long lines and long waits.
A mile long trucks all waiting at the Ukrainian border. Now, typically for Americans crossing into Canada, usually the wait time is roughly 30 minutes. Some people we spoke to in Lviv, Ukraine, say they've waited up to 12 hours, either entering or leaving Ukraine. Sally Bear, who owns 6 Bears Toy and Gift Shop in Lakewood, New York, knows the border wait times in Ukraine all too well.
I've been to Ukraine 4 times, and I leave a week from Monday for my 5th trip. And I have been doing some humanitarian aid in the beginning, medical aid, over $650,000 worth of support since the beginning of the war.
Now, when we left Ukraine, we were very fortunate. We only had to wait 5 hours, but if we chose the wrong lane to wait in, that wait time could have been much, much longer.
So you guys arrived there at an incredibly awkward moment in the war. That missile going into Poland really set everybody on edge in Europe, across the world. So that created a huge problem. Also, you're now dealing with this massive amount of people in Ukraine in the middle of winter. It's very cold, and all of their electric, their heat, and their water is constantly being threatened. Almost everybody I know has issues with one or all three of those utilities, those comforts. And so many, many people are going to try to leave right now to get out for the winter time. They've also been encouraged in some ways to do that, in that the government's asking people to be very mindful of the usage in order that they don't collapse their systems.
Reporting in Lviv, Ukraine, Nick Quattrani, Erie News Now.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. And certainly we've talked with Sally before here on the show, and it's good to see him catching up with her as she continues her great work to try to help those folks. And I couldn't even imagine not being able to have heat and things like that, especially with the snow and cold. Definitely those humanitarian efforts are needed. Well, we'll leave you with this live look over the snow and cold there in Mayville. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.